Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danish. We're doing something a little different here. I wanted to talk a little bit about my recent locals experiences. As many of you know, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little while, and you know, I finally gotten into playing in paper. Finally have a functional deck, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the functional deck. This isn't it right here, actually. This is just some of my winnings from OTS packs, nothing too crazy, but I figured I would at least quickly just show that I got a couple things, nothing crazy, Snow being the best one. But let me go through my deck list first to understand how my locals experience kind of went. I'm playing Live Twin, no surprise. I mean, playmat's right here, so it's nothing too crazy. Let's just go through the list. So I'm playing 42 cards main, and that starts with 3 copies of Kiss-a-Kill, 3 copies of Lilla, 3 copies of Frost, and then 1 each of the Treat and the Evil Twin extra deck monster. Now, this is all you want to see in terms of your main core here. Let's get this over just so we have a little bit of continuity there. Any one of these cards, except for, well, basically these two get most of your combos started. As long as you don't control another monster, one can get the other, which is extremely useful. It's nice, it's full combo, you just need one. These other cards are good in different situations. Frost is really good because if your opponent adds a card from main deck to hand, you can banish this from graveyard and draw one. Really good card. This one can reduce attack points if you get some battle damage. Not as good, that's why you only played it 1. And this comes up whenever you're wanting to use one of the extra monsters that will go on. You know, here in a little bit. Boy, how do I go from there? Well, this is about as much as you want to see. You don't want to see any more of the other ones. This is your prime play starters, and we'll go through like a test hand here in a minute. Really good place to start. For extension, I am playing 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. This is good if you want to go into one of your extra deck monsters that we'll talk about when I get there, but also if, let's say one of your links gets negated, but you still have this in hand to summon, you can still keep going on with your play. It's extremely useful. I only ever cut it if I'm going against a deck that doesn't care if their monsters are negated, and again, I'll explain that when I get to the extra deck. And now for the main reason to play this deck. You can play a critical amount of hand traps that are just crazy. I'm playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, Droll in the main deck, because Droll's super good this format. I'm also playing 2 Moonlit Chill. This is kind of a flex spot. I was trying to think of something else to play, but I couldn't find it. So, it's okay. It's okay. Something else, something like Forbidden Droplets or Cross That Designator, which I don't own copies of, would be fantastic in this slot, and even bumping down one of the other hand traps. And of course, I'm also playing 3 of the Infinite Impermanences. This deck does a lot of drawing, and since all your combos are really 1-card combos, this is the amount of hand traps you want to play. And again, you could maybe cut these Moonlit Chills or something else. I thought they were pretty good, but isn't the best hand trap out there. Maybe Droll and Lockbird would be a little better in that spot. Onto the spell traps. For in-engine stuff, and this is why consistency, you just gotta get one of these guys on board. So, 3 copies of Password, 3 copies of Snitch, and 3 copies of Home. Password gets you a spell trap, so you get one of these 2. This one allows you to add 1 from deck to hand, and it's got like a continuous effect for if your opponent were to normal or special, they take 200, you gain 200 life points. Pretty useful. And then Home is basically you pitch a card from hand, special summon 1 from deck. You're locked into Evil Twins in the extra deck, so this card is really good if you're playing through hand traps, but I try not to get myself locked too early, just in case there's some other plays you want to go into. And to round up my 42, I'm playing the 1 Called By. I'm playing, it's a bit of a combo. You don't want to get Ash in certain places, or Effect Tailored, or something. So that's good. 2 copies of Triple Attack. This card's good. It's kind of like 2 more copies of Called By, because if they activate that, you can at least draw some cards, possibly rip something else from their hand, or if they already have a board established, maybe take something. So it's pretty flexible. This card's, it's good, but if you had maybe like a Forbidden Droplet or Cross-Eyed Designator, maybe this is the card to cut instead of Moonlit Chill and Tupana Desires. Most games, if you're doing this, you probably already have a really good board setup, so you're not worried about banishing anything in particular, so it's just always useful. And that rounds out the 42. Again, if you were really wanting to make this deck even better, I think Cross-Out Designator is fantastic. I've been trying to get myself some copies, but a little expensive. And this deck is a little expensive for what it is, mostly because of the extra deck. So we'll start off. You're running 3 copies of Kiss a Kill, 2 copies of Lilla, 3 of the Trouble Sunny. I'll get to the rest here in a second. So this is all you need for the loop. You could play a 3rd Lilla, but the extra deck's a little tight, and I'd rather run some other niche portions. If you're running through every single copies of all these, the game's going super long, and you need to be winning by that point, so 3 is usually good. Most matchups don't last longer than that. I was playing Pot of Avarice at one point to recycle some of these cards, but it's just, it doesn't do enough on its own, and it could be a dead draw. One of the best cards, the best card probably in this deck, is Trouble Sunny. It represents, on your opponent's turn, quick effect, get these 2 out, and that gets you a draw and a pop. Really good. And then on your turn, you can banish this card, send your one of Evil Twins from main deck, and send something to the graveyard. Really solid. This combo is really good, and let's say you've already used this 1 card as part of your combo piece, you could, you know, let's say you have 1 of each on field, tribute 1 for cost of a Trouble Sunny, and then you can reborn it again with the other copy and get another draw or another pop. It's really solid, and one of my favorite things about this deck is just how much resources you can get and how many draws you can get, and again, that's why you're playing so many hand traps. Round out the rest of the extra deck. So a lot of this deck, if you're activating the effects of the Link 2s, it's going to lock you into Fiends. So we are playing a pretty sizable Nightmare package. So Phoenix, Cerberus, Unicorn. You don't always want to go into these, but it's nice that you can actually make something. We also have a IP Masquerena. Sometimes will come up. Axis Kotalker. And for the other 2, you have Babushka and Totally Awesome. The Frost, Kiss a Kill Frost, is technically level 2 Aqua. I've yet to make this, and honestly I might cut it in the future because it's kind of cope. But theoretically, if you can make this, it's fantastic. Toad's just a great card all around, and Babushka making this with Parallel Deck Seed is fantastic. This stops most decks in its tracks, and if they don't have anything to negate this, you just win. I won a lot of games because this sucker's on board and they don't have anything to deal with it, so that's a game win just automatically. If you were to change anything with the extra deck, I think Toad is probably an easy cut, and maybe Cerberus, just because you're already running Unicorn, and a lot of decks don't really play Cerberus anymore, but just some options. I think, what is it? It's a Link 4 Unchained monster you could theoretically add back in, and it would be a different Link 4 to make while locked into Fiends, but I think you should always go into Trouble Sunny because that card is your main playmakers. And finally for the side deck. A lot of silver bullets in the side deck, I won't lie. This format's really hard to side for, and so there's just so many different matchups, it's almost impossible to fit everything in, but I try to fit the most well-rounded things I could find. Nibiru is fantastic, going second. A lot of decks want to go first, and not all of them are able to set up a negate in time. Sword Soul in certain hands can also not deal with this, so it's fantastic to have. And even if they have a negate, just burning something, a lot of them are like a one-time negate until their next turn. Something like Barone or Griffin Rider. This card, it can at least get a negate out so that your plays will be hopefully getting through the next turn. 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. This was originally Forbidden Lance or Chalice, one of the 2. This is good because it helps you break boards. You're not OTKing in this deck ever because the way it locks out, it's usually a 2 to 3 turn thing, so you don't care about losing 1 turn's worth of damage. Being able to clear a board is far more important, and you can typically drop 2 or 3 monsters depending on what they are, so this is really good. If I were to change this out for Forbidden Droplets, again, they're $50 a piece versus this cost me, I guess, technically $30, plus all the other cards I got out of it, so not too shabby. Next, I'm playing 3 Raigeki. If I had Lightning Storm, that would be right here. Raigeki is just great because a lot of decks just put up a bunch of monsters and they don't have necessarily like a true negate. This is just fantastic. Also combos well with Dark Ruler No More. I'm playing 3 Back Row Hate, 2 Twins, and 1 Harpies. You may want to play more based upon what you see, but I wanted to play it safe. And technically where I have Nightmare in the extra deck, Nightmare Phoenix, I feel like 3 was fine. I didn't want to go with 3 Twisters. I wanted to at least have one that wiped absolutely everything. So that's the ratio I found useful. And of course, I think the best card in the format right now is Dimensional Barrier. It's a little situational where you need to be going first, but if you've already lost a match, say to something like, I don't know, Albaz, this going first, setting this, calling it immediately, going no more fusions, you just win the game. Most decks can't play through this once it's resolved. Resolve this against a Pendulum deck. They were playing like full Pendulum with like Form House and everything. You call Pendulum, it's good. It's just fantastic, and honestly, if there's one card I recommend if you haven't already started using it, use this. It is not good against Link decks, which is great because we're a Link deck, so if other people are running this card too, it's not nearly as good against us. Actually, it's useless against us for the most part, and it's just solid trap card. You know, and that there might be some other matchups, so depending on where you're playing, what kind of locals you're playing, this could be definitely altered. But it's the widest swath of things I could pick. And let me show you just a little bit of a combo, what you're kind of looking at. So here, I'll cut real quick. Let's go to a mixed up hand. All right, and now we're back. So I went ahead and shuffled off camera. We'll do 5 cards, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just slide this over to the side. So let's see what we're looking at here. So our opening hand, this is kind of a soft break. It's usable in the hand depending on the circumstances, but you know, you want to see about 2 hand traps. So we're a little low on hand traps, but if we're going first, this gives us some good options. So in this circumstance, you would normal summon Lilla, activate Lilla's effect. If Lilla doesn't get negated, you get one from deck. Let's just say she gets effect favored. So we have a Lilla on board, can't do anything at the moment. We will activate Frost from hand as long as you control Lilla, special summon it, and that lets you go into a link. And so, if you had one of the search cards, like the trouble, like the continuous or the quick play, to get one out of the deck, or to your hand, getting the Frost of normal summoning Lilla is usually the best play. But you link it off. And if you want to draw a card, which if you're going first, that's the optimal play. You'll start with Kiss a Kill. Kiss a Kill is going to reborn a Lilla. You can link these off. This is a really straightforward combo, so it's a really easy deck to learn, especially if you're, a little bit rusty or not as experienced. Lilla reborns the Kiss a Kill. Kiss a Kill while you control a Lilla, let you draw a card. So now we have a Parallel Exceed, which is fantastic. This actually makes the end board a lot stronger just by drawing into 1 copy of this. You link these off. Let's see, you'll go into the Trouble Sunny, and since you link summoned, you can get this onto the board, get another one from deck. Let's see if I can find one real quick. And then overlay for Babushka. And that's a fantastic, and of course you would set, your Imperm. That represents, they can't do anything with more monsters unless they're links, essentially, because if they have a defense, they can go into defense, this card's going to negate their effects. Trouble Sunny can quick effect go into the other 2, which then, once the chain resolves, you get a draw and a pop. Really solid, I cannot tell you, because let's say it's someone's their turn, you do this, you get to pop a card and draw a card. That's a triple attack. That's fantastic for next turn. Let's say they clear your board somehow, or you know, they have more hand traps for the next turn or something. That's draw 2. That's taking a monster. That's something. It's fantastic. And, you know, there's, depending on what your opponent does during your turn, you can play through quite a few hand traps. About, depending on the hand, sometimes 2 or 3, because, you know, you have, if you need to get a monster out of the deck, let's say you want to add Insulation. Sunny Snitch is fantastic. You can get yourself something like a Frost, so that when you normal summon the normal Lilla, it gets negated. You can at least special summon Frost from hand, or if it gets negated, Home can get another one out, so you can start doing your Link combo. You just got to get 2 material out, and the cool part is it doesn't even have to be all like Live Twin stuff. You could play something like, what is it, that Cyburst card level 3 that special summons itself. If you have a Cyburst monster, since all the regular ones are Cybursts, that's another way. Or, you know, if you're getting stopped mid-combo, Paralytic Seeds, you can use these to help finish up through the combo. The only card you never want to see in your hand, it's not like a complete brick, but it's not great, is this card here. Not bad. You can summon it. It gets up to 4,400 if you have both Engrave. I don't ever use this card for anything more than sending it off with the Sunny's Trouble, or Trouble Sunny, excuse me. But yeah, that's the deck. So this is what I was playing, and I think it's a fun deck. I think it's a pretty good deck. I think I just got not super lucky. So it was 5 rounds of Swiss. I went 2 and 3. I'm not the best pilot, nor am I the best player, and nor do I think this is the best deck. I think it's a good deck. But basically, if you don't open up enough hand traps going second or first, sometimes you just draw too many starters. Even with how few of them you're running in the deck, you could just get a hand that is unplayable. And that can kill you right there, because a lot of decks are very explosive, and you give them an inch, they'll take you a mile. But I will say it was very fun. Playing in papers is honestly addictive now, in my opinion. I've done it 3 times, and it's fantastic. Just to meet people who enjoy the game, play in person, learn some of these rulings, because like time is something that typically you don't really have in the online simulators, and it's just something that's nice. It's nice to have. Side decking is also great. It helps you, well, win matches versus playing Master Duel and hoping you just get everything. It's a completely different environment, and everyone's super nice that I played with, or against rather. And there's even some trades I had done. I didn't pull anything crazy from my packs, but I traded some of the pulls I've gotten in the past. Let's see. I traded a couple of things here and there, so now I have, you know, I have 2 alphas. Love Alpha. Alpha's great. I got myself another Water Enchantress, a Fateful Adventure, Guardian Chimera for my Despia deck, a token for Nibiru, which I wasn't playing during that time, so it's nice to have, and then 3 of these Meltdowns for a friend, Tristan, to use. And, you know, these are cards that I didn't have to pay for. I traded other cards that I had that I wasn't using or wasn't going to be using anytime soon, and so this is it's just a different environment, and it's just really nice to just play an environment like this, where it's, you know, you get to trade cards. It's a trading card game, and you don't get that anywhere else unless you're in person. And there's people with a lot of knowledge. We talking about what I could do better with the deck, what to look forward to in case you weren't aware. Like, for example, this deck is good. I wouldn't say it's the best deck in the room. Obviously, I think it's what deck is it now? It's that deck that just synchros crazy, uses like Chaotic Ruler, and like Therions are good too, like Punk Therions or Punk Synchro, Punk anything really. But, you know, talk about like what can I improve on this deck, what other hand traps are good in the format, you know, in that locals, or what to look forward to. Like Splight for this deck is gonna be nuts. Basically half this deck, put the rest of it in, and, you know, new thing kind of go on. But I just wanted to share my experience. It's been really good. It is a little bit of a long day. Playing for 5 hours is not the most timely thing to do if you are just trying to relax on a Saturday, but I think it's very rewarding, and I've learned a lot. The only downside is, like, the game's super expensive if you want to win. Even this not top tier. This is like rogue level deck at best. It's still expensive. Like 3 copies of your girl Ash. That's $90. That's $100. 3 copies of some of the extra deck monsters, $100, and it adds up. So, and there's definitely more budget-friendly decks that can get wins, but if you want to get top, you had to pay for it. But if you can get past that barrier of entry, or this is the hobby you want to spend your money on, I think it's fantastic, and it's been really fun. And I just wanted to share that experience with you all and let you know this is what I've been building for about 2 years now, maybe a year and a half, and I've just been happy to play it, and I've had a great time, and I will be continuing to play this deck for the next foreseeable, for the foreseeable future. Let me know if you're playing in paper at all, or are you just collecting, just playing digital. I kind of want to hear what you guys want to see, and or what you're all doing. And let me know what you think about the deck list. What would you change if this was your deck? And you could just put whatever else you wanted in it or something. Other than that, I want to say thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.